keep this in mind as we move forward in the future to try to learn from our history and the people who've come before us. All right. Jolene, you can stop that now if you want. So we're going to have some speakers, we're going to have some music, we're going to have some chants. It's going to be almost like a real live rally. We have you muted right now. When the chants come on, the first or loudest person will get the spotlight. So we hope that you'll really participate. Please remember to rename yourselves. Some of you came in on a shared link, so you might be Natalie PN. And if you're not, we'd love to see your real name. When we do have a video playing, remember to stop your videos just to help with the bandwidth issue on Zoom. And we are going to start off with Sam Rasoul. Sam, oh, do you need, let me see if you need help. I'm going to unmute you, Sam. And then we'll start with Sam. Lee, can you try? I'm not getting him unmuted here. There we go. Sam, take it away.
All right, we found New Deal people, carriers of the truth. Let's see those beautiful smiling faces. I'm gonna shift this. I wanna see like gallery view so I can see a bunch of people. Yes, look at this. This is a great group. It is so awesome to be with you. Oh, I'm Natalie right now. Ooh, that is, I feel like I wanna keep Natalie's name. Let me rename myself so I can get myself organized here. Okay, great. I see so many friends when I look around the room, people who have been carrying the torch for so long. If I start naming names, I'm gonna get in trouble. But it is awesome to have our two co-chairs, ringleaders, Lee Williams and Karen Camplin. Then, you know, you've got this kind of inner circle of folks who have doing all of the hard work behind the scenes with John and Natalie and so many of you. And Aisha, thank you so much for being this awesome voice for us. Look, a lot of ups and downs the past couple weeks, right? People are wondering what is happening in this world. We had the Tuesday election, and then we had a Wednesday insurrection, and we're trying to at least get past this this upcoming Wednesday. But let me tell you something. In chaos is an awesome opportunity, always, to be able to build momentum. People are looking for vision. They're looking for leadership. They're looking for a direction. And we have pushed our country to the brink in so many ways. And part of that has been because we have forgotten too many people. Aisha led with making sure we don't forget the indigenous folks who came before us. We've got some great people who are here who are trying to make sure we don't forget our workers. We're trying to make sure we don't neglect our environment. There are so many forgotten voices that are anxious to be uplifted. And that is what a Green New Deal is about. It is not, you know, for all of those folks who are watching, we know it is not an environmental plan. It is an intersectional plan with the intentionality of lifting up people, where we aggressively try to go after this environmental crisis, while at the same time using it as an intentional excuse to uplift people economically. Not to increase your electric bills by 40%, but to figure out how can we go into these environmental justice communities and bring people together. You know, what I have learned in my short time in politics, I'm in my 8th year, a few things. Universally, across the political spectrum, you will find people who hate bullies. And I see folks on this call who have helped us stand up to all kinds of bullies. Bullies in the fossil fuel interests, with Dominion, all these different bullies who have tried to railroad us and have tried to stop us from achieving real progress. But you should take great pride that we have achieved some successes along the way and we've pushed back. And more importantly, we've been able to be an inspiration for folks. That it's not just this kind of leftist ideology of, oh, we need a Green New Deal. No, we are really, truly bottom up, trying to represent the interests of so many people who need us. But one thing is for certain, they're going to be talking about these boogeymen that are the Green New Deal folks, the advocates this session. They're going to be wondering, oh, Green New Deal Act, oh my gosh, we can't do that. Look, here's what we are doing with the Green New Deal, all right? In politics, it's so easy to find enemies. It's really easy. We can look around and we can pick off all these folks, all these interests, all these entities to just attack. What the Green New Deal does is gives us an awesome opportunity to build lasting friendships, to build new coalitions, gives us an excuse to bring economic justice, environmental justice, social justice, racial justice advocates, put everyone in the same room and say, only together will we rise and we will not be divided. And this is the vision in moving forward. We need to understand and really invest in and double down on the fact that a coalition, the coalition of the willing, these strong and beautiful voices, this is how we will get things done in moving forward on the progressive left in perpetuity. The progressive left needs us, needs this coalition. And when I look across all of these wonderful faces, I see Virginia, because I see Black and brown and white. I see legislators from both chambers. I see something that Virginia needs. And now is the time where we can boldly say, not that we are right in a self-righteous way, but that we are empathizing, that we understand that there are struggles, and those struggles are different, they're varied. And we want to be part of elevating your struggle. That's what people are looking for today. And that's what's awesome about this Green New Deal Coalition. So I'm proud to be able to stand with each and every one of you as we get this thing done. Can I get some virtual thumbs up or on the screen if we are going to be passing and pushing for a Green New Deal? Yes, yes. You believe, I believe in us. That's what I believe in. I believe in us. And what's most important is that there's 71 people on this call, on this Zoom rally. And I want you to know that there are 8.5 million Virginians who need us to believe in them. And that's what today is about, is to boldly say 2021, we're sayonara 2020, because we've been ready for 2020 to be gone for a long time. But in 2021, this is the year of the people, when the people come together and the people find new ways of loving on one another, on elevating one another. And I can't wait to do that this year with you. And I can't wait to do that this session as we push for the whole package of Green New Deal bills. And I'm so honored that all of these other legislators have stepped up to say, you know what, this is a coalition that we want to be a part of. So thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you've done over the past couple of years since this launch about 2 years ago. And thank you to all of the hard work that you're putting in. And 100% continue to count me as your ally anytime. I know that Lee or Karen will come and squeeze me anytime you guys need something, but always feel free to reach out to me. So thank you to all of you for all that you're doing.
Hey, Sam, thank you so much. Can you do us one more favor? Would you introduce We Rise Together? We're going to show that right now.
Oh, awesome. 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 Are you all ready for We Rise Together?
Yes.
Yes, let's get some virtual claps. we're going to do the best we can in this virtual setting. You know, the good news is we're not outside freezing, because like right now it is pretty cold. If we were at the General Assembly, that's the good news. But ladies and gentlemen, present We Rise Together.
Coming home, I wanna break down and cry. All my efforts seem to lead me to pain. I feel so small, working for nothing at all. Another tear down my weary face. Yeah, we've heard it all 1,000 times, but now we're drawing down the battle line. From the streets, the people rise. We rise together. 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 There's a truth inside, it's calling out for change. So bring all of our hearts together. See, we're all the same. Yeah. It's true that only love will conquer fear. It's when the silent voices we will hear. When you see the light unite, so we can rise together. In the streets, we rise together. We rise together. We rise together. We rise together. Together. Feel like I lost it all. Am I invisible? I try to stand, but I'm down on my knees. We fight for everything in the land of kings. This ain't how it's supposed to be.
The state of the world is out of control, just look how we live. Came from a place where we don't believe in much or words that says. I see the strength in numbers, let's go together and live. Now is the time for the power to shift.
We rise together. We rise together. We rise together.
Awesome. That was amazing. What a great coalition we have. It's so nice to see all of those people fighting, right? Next, I would like to introduce Senator Hashmi to share with us for a few minutes.
Good morning, everyone. It's so wonderful to join you all and to see your happy and smiling faces. You know, as I was thinking about this morning, in my mind, for some reason, I thought you guys would all be rallying outside, whether it's on Capitol Square or somewhere else better suited today, and that I would just be zooming in magically through somebody's handheld computer or something. I know my mind was just distracted, but I envision you always outside, marching, speaking, advocating for this very important cause. I've had the opportunity to talk to a few of you individually and in small groups recently. Thank you for your continued advocacy. And as we all know, we're looking at a climate catastrophe and we have to make changes. Virginia can take that leadership role. I especially want to thank Delegate Sam Rasoul for being a consistent and strong voice in this area, for pushing us harder to think about what we need to do, to challenging us to make the changes that are so necessary. So thank you, Delegate, for all of your work. For myself, this particular upcoming session, I'm working on environmental concerns in a key area, and that is addressing the issues of mega landfills that we have and the kind of impact we see in the environmental degradation through these landfills. I'm especially focusing also on the environmental justice concerns. And so we're bringing back the Environmental Justice Act that we had been able to successfully pass last session. And we're adding now to the code the language of how these governmental interagency work is supposed to go forward as our agencies cooperate and prioritize the ways in which environmental impacts are particularly significant and how they need to be addressed for the communities that are vulnerable. So the Environmental Justice Act and focusing on interagency work is going to be a top priority. Another bill that I'm working on is the health and safety standards, particularly focused on heat illness prevention for our workers, for our laborers, our farm workers who are facing increasing health risk when they are outside during these high heat months in the summer. As temperatures rise, as the conditions of environmental impact continue to affect the cost of what it means to be laboring in farms or laboring on construction sites, we need to do all that we can to protect our workers. And so this bill creates standards for our workers in outdoor environments and also gives our workers the opportunity to petition and address those concerns when their employers are not responsive or responsible for protecting their needs. So those are just a couple of bills that I'm working on. I've got a few other bills focusing on the landfill concern, and I would love to have your support, love to have additional conversations with each and every one of you. Thank you again for the powerful work you're doing.
Thank you, Senator. Next up, I'd like to introduce Delegate Cole. And just quickly, Senator Hashmi, people are asking for your bill number or any information. If you have that and can share in the chat, we greatly appreciate it. Or you can send it to one of us and we'll share. Okay, Delegate Cole.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Aisha. I appreciate the introduction. Sam, thank you so much for being an awesome leader. Thank you for being an awesome friend. And thank you for being an awesome mentor. Before I get started on what I'm going to talk about, I really have to share a really emotional story, a moment that me and Sam had last year. I was dealing with some defeats in the session, and I was really frustrated with some of the bills that I had introduced that I thought were really good and they weren't getting passed. And so I said, Sam, yo, I don't know how you do this. You've been in the minority for 7 years. Now we're in the majority and it still feels like we're in the minority. I don't know how you do this. And Sam pulled me aside. He said, you're not here for you. You're here for the people who sent you here. And as long as the people sent you here, you have to keep fighting for those people. And that was the boost that I needed to make it through the 2020 General Assembly session. That was the boost I needed to make it through the special session. And that's still the boost I need to make it now through this 2021 session, because we have a fight on our hands and we have to make sure that we fight our environment. Now, I don't know if any of you all know who I am, but I'm a priest in a Christian church. And one of the things that causes me to fight for what I believe in is the book of Genesis. In the book of Genesis, God places Adam in the garden and he said, hey, this is for you, but you also have a job to protect it. And as we consider that we have the planet here, we aren't just here to use and abuse the planet like we want to. We literally are the guardians of the planet Earth. And we have so many great pieces of legislation from the Green New Deal, from the Green New Deal package, that will enable us to be better stewards of the planet Earth. Last night, I filed the moratorium on fossil fuels. We don't have a bill number yet, but it has been officially filed. So hopefully by Monday, we'll have a bill number. We need you to make sure you're contacting every member to let them know the importance of this. This bill, again, is so amazing, not just because it protects the environment, but it's going to protect workers. It's going to make sure that those who may have lost jobs from pipelines or different things like that will have a way to find jobs in clean energy. We also have to make sure that not only are they getting jobs, but we are protecting ratepayers. We know that Dominion Energy has swashed its ugly head all in throughout the General Assembly for years. And they have done what they've done, but it's time that we also protect the ratepayers. And that's why I'm really excited to pick up this baton from Delegate Jennifer Carroll-Foy to carry this fossil fuel moratorium to make sure that we can protect workers, we can protect our environment, and we can protect ratepayers. We have to make sure we're raising up the voices of those who are the least among us, those who cannot have a voice, who don't have the ability to afford a voice in the General Assembly. That's why we're here. We're here to make sure that their voices are heard. We're here to make sure that we can fight for them, even when they don't know what's going on. And so I'm excited. I'm super excited to support all of the bills in the Green New Deal package this year. I'm excited to keep nudging my other colleagues to support it as well. And I'm excited to see the victory that we're going to have in this General Assembly session. So thank you so much. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to make sure that we keep fighting for the people of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Thank you, Delegate Cole. Thank you so much. And now we are going to have a chant led by Karishma. And so, like I said before, whoever's the loudest or makes the most noise or gets in there first will get spotlit. So come on and join us and have some fun.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Karishma Mehta. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a preschool teacher and community organizer in Arlington, Virginia. I'm also proud to be the only Green New Deal champion running for the House of Delegates in District 49 against Delegate Alfonso Lopez. It's important to continue building our collective power towards climate justice. We don't have a moment to waste, whether that's virtually or in person. Change can only come when we all rise up together and demand our human rights. And so with that, I am excited to lead a chant today. Who is ready? Put those thumbs up, put those reactions up, and we're gonna get started with our first chant. The response to this chant is stand up, fight back. So I'll be doing some call outs, and then your response will be stand up, fight back. All right. When the earth we need is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up,
Fight back.
When the air we breathe is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When the water we drink is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When the planet we love is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up,
Fight
back.
What do we do?
Stand up,
Fight
back.
What do we do?
Stand up, back.
Awesome, guys. It's so exciting to do this with y'all. If there's time for one more, I'd love to do one last one. It's very simple, very easy. The response to this chant is going to be our future, because that is what we're fighting for. Not just our present, but our future. So, our water,
Our
future.
our air,
Our future.
our people,
Our
future.
our planet,
Our future.
our planet.
Our future.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Karishma. Thank you, everybody. All right, up next is Delegate Samirah. We'd like to welcome you to the stage. Do we have the delegate on? Okay, we'll move on. Delegate Kay Corey.
They might be named as Natalie, so perhaps that could be a little.
Oh, you know what? Yes, that might be a problem. Because if you're on, you need to rename yourself so we can unmute you.
Or turn on your camera.
Or turn on your yes. Either one of those will work.
Okay.
All right. Well, while that's happening, hopefully they're on and we'll get back to them. Let's move on to Delegate Hurst. Delegate Keam. Yes, there we go. Lee, you need to unmute. There we go.
There we go. Hi, everyone. It's so good to see all of you. And I'm sorry that I was joining a little bit late, so I missed most of the earlier part of the program, but I did catch the chant at the end, and I'm glad that I was able to chant. I didn't have enough time to hit my unmute in order to have my voice be joined with you, but thank you for giving me the chance to have my voice be heard with you right now. I'll just take a couple of minutes to say thank you to all of you, starting with Lee, Karen, and all the other amazing leaders of our Green New Deal Virginia, for bringing us from a concept, the idea from a couple of years ago to reality, where you've already put into the Code of Virginia many ideas that you came up with that are now law in Virginia. That's only the beginning. This year, we're going to make even more changes in the Code of Virginia so that the law of your state reflects the priorities that you have and I have. And so I'm really excited to be part of this effort. I've been an original co-sponsor of my good friend Sam Rasoul's and Delegate Elizabeth Guzman's bill on the Green New Deal. That's the overall umbrella that we work under. But all of these bills that we're working on individually are all related to the same goal, which is the intersectionality of people that need the government's assistance the most, that need to be our priority the highest. We're talking about people who work every single day to make sure that our state operates the way it should. People have been calling these folks now essential workers over the last few months, but we've always known that these are the essential workers. With or without COVID, we've known that these are the essential workers in Virginia and across the country. So we have a group of folks that we want to support in the labor movement, the ones that are working every single day for us. We also want to work on those people whose voices have never been heard because they weren't represented in government. I'm talking about people who look like me and many others on the screen who's, for whatever reason, for discrimination, systemic racism, and immigration rights, and others that have been trampled upon, we never had our voices represented. So people of Black, Indigenous, people of color, immigrants, minorities, our voice needs to be heard. And finally, the people who own this earth, not just the state, not just the country, but the ones that own this earth, our youngest to the oldest who inhabit this Mother Nature, Mother Earth. We want to make sure that this world is as strong as it can be. No matter what human beings do to it, we got to find a way for the human beings to fix the carbon. I think we're going to call you after Keam. So one of the bills that I'm working on this year that I'm very proud to push is to ensure that one of the largest parts of the Commonwealth that emits carbon every day, that produces air pollution into the sky, we want to try to eliminate that, try to reduce that as much as possible. I'm talking about the transportation area. Outside of the buildings that we're all stuck in nowadays, the other place that produces tons and tons of carbon and benzene and methane, all the other kinds of carbon emissions is in transportation. And I know we've got some good friends that are working on making the cars cleaner. We have some rebate ideas to make sure people buy electric cars instead of diesel cars and fuel cars. We have ideas for putting infrastructure so that we have charging stations everywhere. We are on a path towards electrifying our cars. One other area that the state can do is electrifying our school buses. As you know, we have a lot of young people who go, well, not now, but that will be going back and forth to school. And a lot of them go into these little yellow cars, which we love those things because it's so cute. But did you know that they're some of the most dangerous things on the road? They produce diesel, which ends up affecting our air, but it also produces toxins that affect the kids' lungs. When they're sitting in a diesel bus, imagine the amount of fume that they have. And in Northern Virginia, we don't have as many roads in terms of the miles that you have to drive. But in some of our rural parts, we have kids that could be stuck in the bus for 3-4 hours at a time going back and forth. We can't afford to have the next generation of young people being infected through human-made carbon emissions. So my bill, House Bill 2118, remember that, House Bill 2118, would create a new program in the state that would allow the taxes that are not being collected right now on some diesel that agriculture and other industries are using right now. They're not paying taxes on that. We want to collect some of that taxes, about $5 to $10 million, use that money to pay for converting diesel school buses into electric school buses. By example, if our state can show that we are serious about converting diesel and carbon and fossil fuel vehicles into electric vehicles that don't produce as much emissions, we are showing the rest of the state and rest of the community we can make a difference. That's one of the bills I'm working on. And I'm also supporting a bill to make major changes on environmental justice. I did that last year, and I'm working with Shelley Simons on her House Bill 2074, House Bill 2074. It was my bill that I'm working with Shelley to make sure that we get the job done and finish on environmental justice, and so many other bills from the speakers you've heard before and the ones that will come to after today. Every single one of these legislators needs your help, needs your support, and above all, they need you to go out there and fight with you, because this is about us, not any individual one of us. So I want to thank you all for joining me and joining this team, and let's keep chanting until we get the changes that we want.
Thank you so much, Delegate Keam. We appreciate you showing up and sharing those words with us. And now I would like to introduce Delegate Samirah, who I believe is with us now. You may need to unmute yourself.
I am good. I think you guys can all hear me. How are you all? Thank you so much for all convening around such an important issue, environmental justice in its broadest sense, specifically up for us in Virginia. And I'm so excited to be one of the co-patrons of the omnibus bill that Delegate Rasoul is carrying, but also just beyond that, just the whole the movement that we are all a part of. I'm excited to be a part of that. And I'm so glad that we come together with such passion for this subject on a very broad level. We heard so much from so many of my colleagues today about the different layers that the Green New Deal brings together. And I'm coming to you with another couple of those layers, particularly around affordable housing, and as well as contributions that are disabling our democracy from protecting our environment. There's a bill that I'm introducing right now to fight off public service corporation contributions to our legislators, to our elected officials all across the Commonwealth. This is so important for us to be able to start getting our decision makers on the same page as the people around, making sure that the profits that companies are making are not for harming the environment. We want to make sure that legislators are not corrupted in their practice of regulating public service corporations, which are in themselves supposed to be serving the public good. And when they do contribute, they then tend to have oversized influence on a lot of decision makers on their behalf, on the behalf of their profiteering. So we want to stop that. That's House Bill 1756, and that's going to be most likely heard in the Campaign Finance Subcommittee chaired by Delegate David Reed. And the membership of that subcommittee just completely changed, just FYI. So I would say look up the legislators that are on that subcommittee, minus a few that are still there. I believe actually Delegate Sam Rasoul is still on that subcommittee. So we do have a champion on that subcommittee, but we want to make sure that everybody else is a champion as well of democracy in our Commonwealth. The second piece of legislation that I've been working on with members of this coalition has been around trying to put together the keys to creating systemic change in affordable housing for the benefit of those on the margins, but also for the benefit of our environment. We know that in the Commonwealth of Virginia, 65% of carbon emissions comes from transportation, but it's also coming from the very closely associated poor land use that we have instituted in our Commonwealth at our local level all across the Commonwealth. What I mean by that is when we create sprawling suburbs, we incentivize people to continue using their cars, to continue traveling many hours on the road every single day to and from their homes. And by deconstructing the systemic failures of our land use at the local level from the state level, we can do a lot to try to fix a lot of these problems at the local level by taking a grand approach. So of those particular approaches that I'm focused on is transit-oriented development. You may have heard of this concept before, and it's only beginning to take ground right now. I'm introducing legislation to enhance the guidance that was instituted last year through another bill around transit-oriented development that Delegate Guzman had put in there. I'm building on that to try to make sure that localities not use parking requirements in zoning around transportation systems. We want to encourage people to walk and bike to public transit that we put together in our Commonwealth, not use their car. And to do that, we have to stop parking requirements from being put in place around transportation systems. Another big one is to make sure that we discuss the issue of accessory dwelling units. That's basements, garages, cottages that could be used for young people and old to accommodate people that need affordable housing all across our Commonwealth. I'm pursuing a work group to study the issue on a statewide level, so we can convene all the individuals that are interested in this conversation on the statewide level from the stakeholders, to bring them together to talk about how we can unify accessory dwelling unit coding in land use across the state, so that we can make it easy for people to rent out their basements and garages and cottages for more people to live on less space, so that we can conserve that energy and use our cars less. The last piece that I'm working on very closely is to make sure that, excuse me, I'm blanking on my bills right now. It's an unrelated to land use particularly, but it's associated with segregation that happens at our local levels. Our school systems happen to be predominantly people of color or predominantly white. You find that to be common across all neighborhoods of Virginia, not just on a locality level. And we want to make sure that that doesn't impact property value around a specific school. Property value is very important to note here, because what we're dealing with is the impact of racism and classism on people's perception of a value of a home and a value of a school subsequently. And what this does is what we're doing with that particular piece of legislation is connecting the dots between affordable housing, equity, and the environment as much as possible, to thread the needle through and through, so that we can make sure that we're thinking about this in the spirit of what is environmental justice. I think I'll stop there. I don't want to take up too much time, but the fight continues across the board of how we connect our movement together, how we create intersectional justice through climate justice, and how we push forward for the benefit of all people, with a special focus on those on the margins. Thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you, Delegate Samirah. We appreciate you. Next up, it's time for some more chanting. So I'm going to turn you over to Kendall, who's going to take us away.
Hey everyone, my name is Kendall Crawford. I'm Director of Virginia Interfaith Power and Light. I'm so excited to share with you all some chants today. I decided to start with Good Old Faithful from my Sierra Club days, and I hope you all will join me. Oh no, let me turn off my background. Okay, so hopefully now you can see my little sheet of paper. Hey, hey, ho, ho, fossil fuels have got to go. Hey, hey,
hey,
ho, ho, fossil fuels have got to go. Hey, hey,
Hey, hey,
fossil fuels have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, fossil fuels have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, fossil fuels have got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, fossil fuels have got to go. Hey, hey.
fossil fuels have got to go.
That I was hoping to do with you all. This one has a few more words to it, but I hope you all can humor me. I'm sure you all have heard it before, but it goes, ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. Okay, so I made a little sign, but my sign's kind of big, so I don't know if you all can see it. Here we go. Ain't no power like the power
of the people.
Power of the people don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people don't stop.
Thank you, Kendall. You know, everything with Zoom takes a little getting used to. All right, up next, we have a video from Delegate Guzman, who wasn't able to join us, but she did send us some words. So I'll turn it over to our tech team to bring that up.
Hello, this is Delegate Elizabeth Guzman, co-founder of the Virginia Green New Deal Coalition. I'm a social worker, a public administrator, an immigrant, a proud union sister, a mother to 4 children, but most importantly, I'm a fighter for working people, marginalized communities, and progressive causes. And I'm excited to be fighting with Green New Deal priorities in this legislative session. As many of you know, I've introduced a basic days bill every year, because no one should have to choose between their health and a paycheck. We have not been able to get that bill through the Senate. So this year, I'm introducing a basic days bill for our essential workers. A new survey showed that only 1/3 of workers at the largest service industry employers in Virginia have access to paid sick leave. These are the people who prepare our food and clean our buildings and kept this country running throughout this pandemic. Many of these workers are from the Black and Latinx communities, which have been disproportionately impacted by this pandemic. This bill will provide 40 hours of paid time off to full-time essential workers that include emergency personnel, healthcare workers, food plant workers, home health care workers, child care workers, domestic workers, grocery store workers, and other essential workers as defined by Governor Northam's Executive Order number 72. I'm also introducing a resolution to declare a climate and ecological emergency facing Virginia and the planet, because I think that for us to fully tackle the magnitude of this problem, we need to name it. The resolution, the role that human activity has contributed to global warming. And I'm very proud to share that I've been working with the Friends of Buckingham to carry a bill to issue a moratorium on new gold mine permits in Virginia until 2024, so that a study can be conducted to properly understand the potential impacts of gold mining on public health, safety, and welfare in the Commonwealth. I commend the Friends of Buckingham on their huge win in defeating the Atlantic Coast Pipeline. And I want them to know that I am fired up to be at their side in this fight. Finally, I'm introducing a resolution in support of federal legislation creating a $4 trillion national infrastructure bank. Should this bill become law, the Commonwealth will receive $91 billion in funding that would create nearly 2 million jobs in the manufacturing sector. We would be able to use these funds to build affordable housing, provide broadband access to all corners of Virginia, invest in high-speed rail, and revitalize our energy grid with large-scale renewable energy projects. I am sorry I could not join you today, but I am so grateful for your support for these priorities. I need you to help me raise public awareness around these bills, and I need you to call every senator on the Commerce and Labor Committee to help me pass paid sick days. Thank you for all you do, and let's get it done together. I am ready. I hope you are too.
Awesome, thank you. And last but certainly not least, I'd like to welcome Delegate Carter to the stage. Delegate Carter, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Green New Deal, Virginia. I'm Lee Carter. I'm the delegate for Virginia's 50th district, which is the city of Manassas and parts of Western Prince William County. And I'm also a candidate for governor. But I'm here today to talk to you about some of the things that we might not think about when we think about the Green New Deal that are equally important to the headline aspects, right? The Green New Deal is not about a single bill. It's not about a single aspect of things. The Green New Deal is about building a sustainable future. It's not just about solar panels and windmills. It is about building a future where we have a sustainable economy, where all of our work leads to a sustainable life, where people are not living in poverty. And that begins with workers having the right and the ability to organize and fight together for a better future. That's why for 3 years running now, I am proud to have been the chief patron of the bill to repeal the so-called right to work law in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Now, right to work is an intentional misnomer. You might think right to work sounds like the right to a job, but it's not. What right to work laws do is they say that unions have to bargain on behalf of people who cannot and will not contribute back to the union for the benefits that they receive. Right to work states, when compared to free bargaining states, have lower wages, higher income inequality, lower life expectancies, lower happiness, and even lower voter participation. Virginia can join the over 20 states that have free bargaining laws rather than right to work laws, and we can take part in those benefits. We can have the higher wages. We can have the higher voter participation, the longer life expectancies, the better quality of life for all of our people. And we can use that as a foundation to build a political and economic system that is fully sustainable, that is not dominated by corporate special interests anymore, that actually looks out for the needs of the people. That is why repealing right to work is an integral part of the Green New Deal for Virginia. It's about putting power back in the hands of working people and building a commonwealth that is sustainable from the ground up, not just in our energy infrastructure, but in our economic and political systems as well. It's about saying that working Virginians have control over our own economic destinies, and we can choose to have energy infrastructure that is truly zero carbon by 2030 or 2035, not 2050, not 2060, not when it's too late, but when we actually need it. So I'm urging all of you to please get involved, call your senators, call your delegates, and call the Speaker of the House and say that we need a recorded vote on House Bill 1755 to repeal the anti-worker so-called right to work law in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Once again, I'm Lee Carter, member of the House of Delegates and candidate for governor. And thank you all so much for everything that you are doing. Let's keep fighting. Let's win every part of this Green New Deal for Virginia. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Delegate Carter. Next up, I'd like to bring Lee to the stage to lead us on our last chant. Lee, take it away.
Hey, thanks everybody. Just want to make sure that Delegate Corey didn't sneak in the back door when we weren't paying attention. I want to make sure Chris Hurst, have they joined us? Going once, going twice. All right, moving on. First, I want to thank all of our champions, both elected and the volunteers who wake up every day, passionate about justice and ready to change the world. Your actions are making a difference and making our movement stronger every minute. We had founding brother and sister Delegates Guzman and Rasoul give us calls to action earlier. I'd like to share what our founding father, Senator Ed Markey, said last year. We asked what we could do for our country, and we went out and we did it. With all due respect, it's time to start asking what your country can do for you. Can I get a high five? We held this rally at high noon for a reason. There is a showdown coming between Democratic establishment and policy insiders and our young and growing progressive wing. We need to win this fight, and we need your help to get all of our policies across the finish line. Please join me In one last chant, and this one's for Jam. Let me all hear you. Unmute.
Woo!
Woo! Yeah.
I believe.
I believe.
I believe that.
I believe that.
I believe that we.
I believe that
we.
I believe that we will win. I
believe that
will
we will
win.
win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
We will win.
We will win.
We will win.
I believe that
We will win.
I believe
that we will win.
I believe that we will win.
I believe that we will win.
I believe that we will win. I believe
I
that we
believe that
will
we
win.
will win.
I believe that we will win.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, everybody, for participating. We really appreciate all the great attendance that we've had for our events, and all of the support for the Green New Deal and the many, many bills that surround it. You're going to be getting a follow-up email from us that will also have a link to the recording. We encourage you to share the message, and also, follow through on the calls to action. And before you go, we have one more piece of art for you, and we hope you'll stick around. It's Which Side Are You On? And we hope you enjoy it.
Hey y'all, I'm Joshua Vanna here, co-director for Artivism Virginia. So great to see everyone on the call. I wish we could all be out in the street together and in the halls of power making noise, but doing the best we can. We've got the Sun Sing Collective is a project of Artivism, a bunch of musicians spread out from across Virginia and DC, and we thought we'd like to take this old wonderful song called Which Side Are You On?, which is part of the rich history of labor organizing, especially in Appalachia and later on in the civil rights movement. And we wrote a few new verses that are about this thing called the Green New Deal and why it's so important for us to have a strong, broad, and deep coalition that is clearly represented by so many wonderful faces on this call. And for more about us, I'll post some of our links in the chat, but Atlantic Ghost Pipeline MVP is next, and a Green New Deal. So we just have to ask ourselves, which side are we on? So I'll get this screen share going here.
Today we face our future, and there ain't no neutral ground. You're either wide awake or fast asleep. Climate crisis is going down. Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? In the Capitol, the governor's bosses, the polluters write the law. The lobbyists line their pockets while they serve corruption's call. Now the halls of power won't right to work, their union busting lies. We need working folks in solidarity and our labor organized. Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? trees up in the mountains, brave resistors make their stand. To defend our planet's future, protect our water, air, and land. The judge lays down fines, $500 every day, while the richest nation in history, politicians look away. Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? Fill the skies, there's a choice we gotta make. A just transition and a Green New Deal is the only road to take. Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? Which side are